Have you ever been in a room where everyone thought they knew who the strongest person was, until the truth came out and left them speechless? This is not just another story about strength. It's about a woman who walked into a room of U.S. Navy SEALs, wounded and barely standing, only to silence them all when the commander revealed her past. Stick with me till the end, because this one will make you look at courage in an entirely new way. And before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe for more stories that will keep you hooked until the very last word. The training base was alive with noise, boots striking gravel, metal weights clanging, and the sharp, disciplined barks of instructors driving men to their limits. This was not a place for weakness. This was where the Navy forged steel out of flesh, where only the toughest survived. And on that morning, every eye turned toward the gate when a black SUV rolled in slowly. The door opened, and out stepped a woman. She looked fragile. Pale skin, a limp in her walk, and bandages still peeking from beneath her jacket. To the SEAL candidate standing in formation, she looked out of place. Too thin. Too broken. Too ordinary. Some exchanged smirks. Others whispered under their breath. A few laughed outright. "What's she doing here?" one muttered. The woman said nothing. She simply stood there, breathing heavily, her hand gripping the SUV door as though even standing took all her strength. And then the commander arrived. Commander Briggs was a mountain of a man, respected and feared across every branch of the service. He didn't smile. He didn't explain. He just looked at her, then at the men. "Gentlemen," he barked, "meet the person who will show you what real endurance looks like." The laughter stopped. The recruits weren't convinced. To them, she was nothing more than a charity case dragged in to make a point about resilience. They flexed their muscles, bragging quietly about their own pain thresholds. "I bet she couldn't last a day in Hell Week," one scoffed. Another shook his head. "She looks like a civilian who wandered onto base." She heard every word. But her eyes stayed forward, sharp as steel despite the bruises across her face. She didn't flinch. She didn't respond. That silence unnerved them more than any insult could. When the commander ordered her to step forward, she nearly stumbled. The bandages on her side shifted, and for the first time, the men noticed the crimson stains seeping through. She was hurt, seriously hurt. Yet here she was, walking into the heart of their world. The commander ordered a demonstration. "Obstacle course," he growled. The recruits cheered, sure she would fail. The whistle blew, and the woman started. She was slow. Her body screamed in protest. Every jump sent fire through her ribs. Every crawl tore at her wounds. But she didn't stop. Inch by inch, she dragged herself forward. The recruits began to laugh again, until something shifted. They watched her face. It wasn't pain that showed there, it was memory. Every obstacle wasn't just wood, rope, or mud. To her, it was something else. A burning building. A shattered street. A battlefield. She wasn't fighting the course, she was reliving it. By the time she collapsed at the finish line, blood soaking her bandages, silence had fallen. For the first time, none of the SEAL candidates could bring themselves to mock her. Commander Briggs stepped forward, his voice low but carrying across the yard. "You think you're tough? You think pain makes you strong?" He gestured at the woman on the ground, trembling but refusing help. "She's stronger than every one of you put together. And you don't even know why." The recruits shifted uneasily. The commander continued. "Her name is Captain Elena Ramirez. Special Forces. Embedded deep behind enemy lines 3 years ago. Her team was ambushed. Every man went down in the first strike. She fought alone. 3 days, no food, no water, no backup. She dragged 2 wounded brothers in arms through 20 miles of hostile territory. Took a knife to the ribs, shrapnel to the leg, and still managed to keep moving. Gasps spread through the ranks. Eyes widened. The commander's voice hardened. When they found her, she had lost half her blood. Doctors said she'd never walk again. But here she is. Walking. Fighting. Training. Because she doesn't know how to quit. The men who had laughed earlier stood frozen, shame written across their faces. The woman, still on the ground, lifted her chin and looked them dead in the eye. She didn't need to speak. Her very existence was the lesson. No one dared move. The SEALs, men who prided themselves on being the toughest in the world, stood in silence before a woman who had already lived through more hell than they could imagine. She wasn't there to impress them. She wasn't there to prove anything. She was there because even broken, even bleeding, she was unbreakable. And in that silence, respect was born. From that day forward, none of them ever forgot Captain Elena Ramirez. Not the story of her wounds. Not the scars she carried. But the fact that she stood, wounded, barely alive, yet still stronger than them all. And that's the story, friends. A reminder that real strength isn't about muscles, medals, or bragging rights. It's about refusing to give up, even when every part of you screams to surrender. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to subscribe right now. We bring you stories of courage, sacrifice, and true resilience that the world should never forget.